Yo, what's up guys? It's Noah here, and in today's video, we're going to be breaking down the NBA slate on Draftkings and Yahoo for Thursday, April the 29th. We got a 6-game slate for Thursday. We're going to break down, as always, we're going to go through each game. We're going to go game by game and talk about each team on this slate. I'll give you guys my early thoughts, what does stand out to me, taking a first look at this Thursday slate, taking a first look on Wednesday night. So before we do get started with the breakdown, as always, guys, I would appreciate it if you would click that like button down below. If you are new to the channel here, be sure to click that subscribe button as well, and also hit the notification bell so that way you do get notified every time I upload. You also do get notified every time I live stream. Now, I was not able to live stream on Wednesday, but I should be back for a stream Thursday afternoon. So, around normal time, 4:30 Eastern, I'll be live on my YouTube channel breaking down the slate with you guys, answering all your questions and talking through everything. As always, if any news comes out during the day, if this slate changes, if there's plays that open up during the day because of news, we will always discuss that in the live stream. So be sure to tune into that Thursday afternoon around 4:30 Eastern time if you are able to. But yeah, guys, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button as always. I appreciate that, and let's go ahead and take a look at Thursday's slate. We'll start off with the Dallas and Detroit game. So looking at the Mavs side here, it seems like basically every slate at this point, at least these last few days, everyone on the Mavs is questionable. Luka, Porzingis, Dorian Finney-Smith, Josh Richardson, Maxi Kleber, JJ Redick, all listed as questionable today. For now, I'm just going to assume that they all play. Luka's been questionable for like their last 3 games, and he's played in all of them. So I'm assuming Luka plays today. At 10,800 on a shorter slate, only 6 games, Luka definitely looks like a top stud option. I think I still would probably rather play Giannis. We do have Jokic as well in the slate, so there are other pay-up options. You have Curry, you have Towns, you have Zion. There's some guys I'm going to prefer over Luka. I think, Giannis and Jokic being the 2 guys I would look to. Luka's definitely right up there with those guys. Luka's been really good lately, even, with Porzingis out. That's definitely, I wouldn't say that it really helps Luka because we've seen him have bad games in the past without Porzingis, but I would say that it gives maybe a small bump. Maybe it gives a little boost to his usage rate. Overall, his fantasy point per minute production doesn't really see a massive spike with Porzingis off the floor, but usage sees a little bit of a bump. At 10,800, Luka's definitely someone you can pay up for. I just think there are a few other studs I'd rather play over him today. Plus, we do have a lot of good options in the mid-range that I like. Porzingis, though, even if he plays, I don't really have that much interest in. So really for me on the Mavs, it's just Luka and probably nobody else. Now, if obviously these guys get ruled out, like if Luka gets ruled out, if Porzingis gets ruled out, then that just changes everything, and that makes, Tim Hardaway, Jalen Brunson, basically every other Mav playable. But for now, I'm just going to assume that Luka and Porzingis play, and if that's the case, Luka's really the only Mav that I think I'm going to be considering on this slate. But moving on to the other side and talking about Detroit. Now, the Pistons are not a team I've really been looking to roster much lately, but today's definitely a different day. Jeremy Grant, Mason Plumlee, Corey Joseph, Wayne Ellington have all been ruled out. Rodney McGruder, Dennis Smith Jr. are out as well. So basically the Pistons, it seems like these 4 guys, or at least these 3, Grant, Plumlee, and Joseph, it seems like the Pistons are going to give these guys rest days like, maybe once or twice a week. So we're getting a day today where, all these guys are going to be resting. So with Mason Plumlee out, that's going to make a guy like Isaiah Stewart look very appealing. With Jeremy Grant out, that gives a little boost to guys like Josh Jackson, Sadiq Bey. And then with Corey Joseph out, we should see Killian Hayes move back into the starting lineup, and he's super cheap, so he's someone I have interest in. But it does start with Isaiah Stewart, 6K on DK. He's priced appropriately. I don't think he really stands out as like a must play. It's not like Isaiah Stewart's like 4K or something, but even at 6K, if we're going to get like 30, 32 minutes from Isaiah Stewart, we've seen the upside that he has when, Plumlee's not out there. When Isaiah Stewart gets big minutes, he can, put up massive games. He's had some huge games in the past, whenever Plumlee is sat and he started. So I'm assuming that Isaiah Stewart starts, plays 30 to 32 minutes, probably scores anywhere around 35, 40 DK points, which is still pretty good for 6K. So I definitely have interest in Isaiah Stewart today, even at this price point. And I do like him on Yahoo as well. I think he looks a little bit better over there just because he's not as expensive. Only $20 on Yahoo. Definitely one of my favorite center options right now. Then Josh Jackson, at 5,800, I think we can definitely look to Josh Jackson. He obviously benefits without Jeremy Grant. He should get probably 30 to 32 minutes. Should get a little bit more usage with Grant off the floor. So Josh Jackson's definitely in play for me. Sadiq Bey, I think at 4,900 looks pretty good. His price has come down a little bit just because he hasn't really been that good lately. But obviously what's the word I'm looking for? Like the the deduction of Jeremy Grant, that's going to obviously make Saddiq Bey, look a lot better today. Obviously, Saddiq Bey is not really someone we ever roster when the team's fully healthy. But now that Jeremy Grant's out at 4,900, I think Saddiq Bey is a pretty good value play from this Detroit team. And then Killian Hayes, I like a good amount, 4,400. Another guy that, I don't really play, but when I do, it's usually whenever Corey Joseph is out, which is obviously the case today. I'm pretty sure the last few games, like the San Antonio game, I believe Corey Joseph was out then. We got 31 minutes from Killian Hayes in the starting lineup, had 22 DK points. The game before that against Cleveland, Corey Joseph was also out then. Killian Hayes started, played 33 minutes, had 28 DK points. Very similar to Isaiah Stewart, I'm expecting Killian Hayes to start, probably play 30 to 32 minutes. Now, obviously, he's not nearly as productive of a player on a point-per-minute basis as Isaiah Stewart is, but still someone that can give us 25, 30 DK points in 30 minutes, which makes him a really good value at 4,400. So Hayes and Stewart are my two favorite plays from Detroit, but Jackson's in play for me. Saddiq Bey's in play for me. I'm probably not considering any other Pistons, though, outside of those four guys. So we can go ahead and move on to the next game, talk about Brooklyn and Indiana. Now, on Brooklyn today, Kyrie Irving you have at 9,600. Kevin Durant you have at 8,500. Definitely have interest in both of these guys. I think Kevin Durant is my preferred, though, of the two. I really like Kevin Durant today at 8,500. I just think he's way underpriced. He was very popular last slate, as I thought he should be. We got word that he was going to move back into the starting lineup, and his minutes limit was going to be lifted. He was going to play more minutes, and he did. He played 33 minutes after playing 28 the game before that. I don't know if we're going to get like 38 minutes from Kevin Durant today, but I think we probably get 33, 34 again, maybe like 35. If this game stays close, Durant's going to play enough minutes to where he can easily put up a good score for 8,500. Like, it's not like Durant's 9,500 anymore. I mean, his prices come way down. It should not be this cheap, especially with James Harden out. KD should be close to 10K now that he's playing, his normal minutes again. So Durant looks like one of the more underpriced players on today's slate. He's one of my favorite plays, definitely stands out as a top option from this Brooklyn team. And I think on Yahoo, we can also look to Kevin Durant over there. Now, I don't think he stands out as much. At $43, there's guys priced around him you could go to, but I still do like Durant a lot on Yahoo. I don't think he's going to be as popular as he is on DK, which makes me have a lot of interest in him on both sides. KD, definitely my favorite play from Brooklyn. You could also play Kyrie, but I think now that Kevin Durant is back and playing full minutes, I don't have as much interest in Kyrie, especially when he's priced, so much higher than Durant is. I would just rather take the savings and play KD. But then these secondaries pieces from Brooklyn, like Joe Harris, Blake Griffin, Jeff Green, I don't know if I'm going to really play any of these guys today. We're going to have to wait and see what the starting lineup is. I'm pretty sure last game they did start Jeff Green at center. If Jeff Green starts at center again, he's okay at 4,800. He did start, played 37 minutes, had 39 DK points last game. He was very productive. Starting at center should help his rebounding numbers a little bit. He did have 8 rebounds last game. It should just help his fantasy production overall. 4,800, if you force me to play another net outside of Kevin Durant, I think the next guy I would look to would be Jeff Green. So I do have some interest in Jeff Green, but I'm probably not playing anyone else on this Nets team. It's just those guys that I mentioned. Now on the Pacers side, we know Domantas Sabonis, Miles Turner are going to remain out for the Pacers, while Jeremy Lamb and Goga Batadze once again are questionable. They've both been out recently. For now, I'm going to assume that they play, but we'll just have to wait and see. I mean, it's just tough to tell at this point. But then, but at the top, Brogdon, LeVert we have at the top. I think these guys continue to look like top options on a nightly basis. Now their prices are coming up. Brogdon's price is coming up faster than LeVert's is. Brogdon is 9K today, whereas LeVert is only 8K. I think you can play both these guys. I think both look like great options. Obviously, last game, they really got killed by the blowout. Brogdon only played 28 minutes, only had 28 DK points. He got off to a really hot start, but really didn't do much after that. But in this game against the Nets that probably should stay close. Right now, we don't have a line on this game, but I would assume that the spread will probably be like maybe 7-8 points. If this game does stay close and we do get 36, 38 minutes from Malcolm Brogdon, at 9K, he has shown the upside to be able to put up 50-plus DK points and be a good play at his salary. So I still do have interest in Malcolm Brogdon today. I think for the savings, though, I would rather play Caris LeVert, just given he's $1,000 cheaper. I think both these guys, on a point-per-minute basis, are going to average close to the same, fantasy points per minute. Maybe Malcolm Brogdon is a little bit better than LeVert, but when these guys are so differently priced like they are today, like when there's $1,000 difference, I think I would definitely take the savings and play Karis LeVert. I think both Brogdon and LeVert project pretty similarly, so getting the discount does make me prefer LeVert. The matchup's good for both these guys. Brooklyn does play relatively fast. They've been better defensively than they were at the beginning of the year, but still, I do like the matchup here for Karis LeVert. It's the revenge game, if you want to factor that in, facing his former team. Regardless, I think him and Brogdon are very solid options in the mid-range once again. LeVert, though, I think is my preferred of the two, given the savings. And he is a little bit cheaper on Yahoo as well. On Yahoo, you got Brogdon coming in at $37, whereas LeVert is $34. So I think I'll take the savings, go with the guy like Karis LeVert there on Yahoo. And I forgot to mention, I do like Killian Hayes a lot on Yahoo as well. He has minimum salary over there. I do want to go ahead and plug him in to the early core plays. He is someone I'll definitely be looking to on Yahoo as well. But other Pacers outside of Brogdon, LeVert, T.J. McConnell, I don't have that much interest at his price, but Shai Brissett, I think, is someone we can continue to roster. He just continued to play massive minutes. Since moving into the starting lineup, he's played 42, 38, 31, and 40 minutes. Even in a blowout last game, Brissett still played in the blowout, so at this point, he's basically blowout proof. He's going to play, 35, close to 40 minutes. Even if this game blows out, he'll still be out there, it seems like. I think Goga Batadze, if he's out again, that definitely makes me more interested in Brissett. If Goga Batadze does play, I would say that's a slight bump down for Brissett, but probably not enough to where I would just completely get off of him. At 5,300, I think this guy's still underpriced. His floor, I would say, is not the highest. Like we've seen, obviously, against Orlando, only 25 DK points. Had a mediocre game against Detroit, only 32. But if they're going to be playing him 35, 40 minutes a night, with Indiana so thin on big men right now, the opportunity is clearly there for Shai Brissett. He's put up a double-double in 3 of his last 4 games. I still like him a lot at 5,300. He is someone that I would definitely be looking to from this Pacers team. He's also pretty affordable on Yahoo. I do like him a lot over there as well. $21 on Yahoo, definitely appealing. So I would say Brogdon, LeVert, and Brissett are my 3 favorite plays from the Pacers. But I do want to mention Goga. If Goga plays, I do like him a lot as a value. Now, he's been out for a while. I don't know if he would be limited or not if he does play, but if he plays and he's not limited, if he's back in the starting lineup at 4K, Goga would be a really good value play. I've been saying that for like the last 3 or 4 slates that he's been questionable on. Obviously, he hasn't played yet, but when the day comes when he finally plays, it maybe could be today. He's going to project as a really good value play, assuming there's no limitations. So just keep an eye on the Goga news. If he plays, I like him a lot as a value. That would give a small bump down to Brissett, but I still would have interest in Brissett even if Goga's in. But like Edmund Sumner, I'm probably not going to. He was massive chalk last slate and kind of busted for everybody. Only played 20 minutes, only had 11 DK points after 2 back-to-back good games against Detroit and Orlando. Sumner, he's not really known to be a great point-per-minute player. The price is coming up a little bit. I don't think I'm going to play him today. I think there's other guys I prefer. Like, I think I'd rather roster Sadiq Bey at 4,900 over Edmund Sumner at 4,400. So, for me, the 3 guys we mentioned, plus Goga if he plays, those are the guys I'm looking to from the Pacers. But moving on to the next game, we got Milwaukee and Houston. So, on Milwaukee here, again, for me, when this Milwaukee team's fully healthy, it's really just Giannis, and that's it. I think that's once again the case today. Giannis is currently probable. He is expected to play, so with Giannis playing, he's a top stud once again. Giannis is just someone I always pay up for. He's just so consistent. We know he's going to play 36, 38 minutes as long as the game is close. Now, the one concern here is that Houston is obviously not a good team. This game does have plenty of blowout potential, but if this game can stay close and we do get full minutes from Giannis, he could easily be the high-scoring player on the slate. He could outscore guys like Jokic and Luka, so right now, I'd say that Giannis is probably my favorite stud. It would be close between him and Jokic, but Giannis I do like a lot. 11K. Just we know what he's going to do at this point. He's going to go out there and stuff the stat sheet. He contributes in all categories. He's basically like Russell Westbrook. He has triple-double upside basically every night. Love Giannis. As always, I'm always a big fan of Giannis, and he's someone that I always roster. But I'm probably not playing anyone else on Milwaukee outside of Giannis today, or even really considering anyone else. But on the Houston side, looking at the Rockets here. So this is a tough team to really gauge. Last game, I was very high on Kevin Porter, and he just really shit the bed. He was pretty popular last slate. It was the first game without John Wall. We already know that John Wall is going to be out for the season, so Kevin Porter is going to be someone that we probably are going to be rostering moving forward. At 7K, though, on this slate, does Kevin Porter stand out as a guy that you really have to go to? I don't think so. I think I'd rather get to some of these other mid-range guards like Brogdon, like LeVert. I don't think I'm going to play KPJ today, but obviously with John Wall done for the year, I mean, KPJ is going to be the starting point guard for the Rockets moving forward. He's going to play, big minutes every night as long as games can stay close. He still has upside at 7K, but I think on today's slate, there's just other guys I do prefer over him. Christian Wood at 8,200. I think he's a good tournament option. I mean, in cash games, like, there's no way I'm playing Christian Wood over Kevin Durant. Like, give me Durant all day, just straight up over Christian Wood. But I do expect Christian Wood to be a lot lower owned than a guy like Kevin Durant. So if you want to play him in tournaments for the low ownership, I don't have any problems with it. We know Christian Wood has upside. He showed that last game. He's put up 50+ in back-to-back games. The only concern is that this game has blowout potential, but if it can stay close, Christian Wood's probably going to be one of the reasons why. So you could definitely go to him. I think if you play Giannis, it makes sense to maybe play someone on the Houston side, because if you're playing Giannis, you're probably assuming the game stays close, which means probably one of these Houston guys is doing pretty well as well. Kelly Olynyk, though, is someone that I really haven't been on lately. With Christian Wood back in the lineup and playing big minutes, like, I just haven't really been on Kelly Olynyk, but man, Kelly Olynyk's been good. I mean, 3 straight games with at least 47 DK points. He's been super productive. He's been doing everything. He's been scoring. He's been getting rebounds. He's been getting assists. He's been playing big minutes. Like, 6,900 feels expensive for Kelly Olynyk, but with how well he's been playing, I still think he's a viable option. At this point, I feel better playing Kelly Olynyk than I do Kevin Porter, which is kind of crazy, but Olynyk's just been way more productive than Porter has lately. So I think Kelly Olynyk would probably be like my second favorite play from Houston, followed by Christian Wood, then Kevin Porter behind him. Jae'Sean Tate at his price tag, I'm not the biggest fan of. I know he had a good game last game. I'm just a bit hesitant to pay $6,100 for Jae'Sean Tate. I don't really know how much upside he has at this price point. Could he give you 6x? Absolutely, but is he a guy that's going to go out there and break the slate? Probably not. So don't think I really need to go to Jae'Sean Tate. And I'm not considering any other Rockets today. So for me, it's Kevin Porter, Kelly Olynyk, Christian Wood, really the top 3 guys. I would rank them probably Wood number 1, Olynyk 2, and Porter 3. But all 3 are viable. You could definitely go to those guys. I think maybe playing someone from Houston, if you play Giannis, that makes plenty of sense. Just hoping the game stays close. But moving on to the next game, we got Golden State and Minnesota. So on Golden State today, pretty important news here. Kelly Oubre is currently doubtful for today, while Kent Bazemore is expected back in the lineup. So with Kelly Oubre doubtful and Kent Bazemore back, I think Kent Bazemore is the guy that I like most from Golden State. As weird as that sounds, but he's only 3,900, super cheap. We saw when for that stretch of games when Oubre was out, Bazemore's price got up to about 5K. But today he's only 3,900. It's a good matchup against Minnesota. We're going to probably get like 30, 32 minutes from Bazemore in the starting lineup. So I think he's a really good value play. Definitely someone you can look to if you need like a cheap, small forward or shooting guard, whatever, or small forward. He's small forward only. But yeah, if you need a value small forward, I think Kent Bazemore stands out as a really good value today. He's my favorite play from this Warriors team. You could go to Curry. You could go to Draymond. I think Draymond's the guy that I would probably prefer just given the savings. Curry, I don't really play Curry that often. I always, prefer guys like Giannis and Jokic and Luka, just those guys that can give you the triple-doubles any night. Westbrook. I'm always going to prefer those studs over someone like Curry. But Curry in a good matchup against Minnesota in a game that should be, very fast-paced, should be high-scoring. Curry has plenty of upside here. Am I going to play Steph Curry? Probably not, but in tournaments, I think you could go there. There's other studs I prefer over Curry today, though. Draymond is 7,300. Another guy that I think looks like a solid option in the mid-range. If I can find the salary, I would much rather play Kevin Durant, but we know the upside that Draymond has. Gives you that triple-double upside almost every night. You can go out there and just put up 45, 50 DK points, can stuff the stat sheet. Definitely have interest in Draymond, but I would say, my guy Kent Bazemore, 3,900. He's the value play that I like most from this Golden State team. And overall, I would say he's one of the better, cheap options right now if you do need someone for cheap. But looking at the Minnesota side, talking about the Timberwolves, you got Karl-Anthony Towns at 10,100. We have a lot of studs today. I feel like I'm talking about, a new stud basically when I get to every game. So we already have Jokic. We haven't talked about Jokic yet, but we have Luka, we have Durant, we have, Kyrie, we have Brogdon and LeVert in that mid-range. You got Giannis. I mean, there's a lot of pay-up options today. How would I rank Towns with those guys? I think I'd put Towns up there with Giannis and Luka, or Giannis and Jokic, excuse me. He'd be right up there with Giannis and Jokic. Now, if I can find the salary, normally I always prefer Jokic over Towns. I think that's going to be the case today. But this is a pretty good matchup against Golden State. Obviously, this Golden State team is pretty undersized right now. I mean, Kevon Looney, like, he's obviously a big, but he's not that really good of a defender. I mean, this is definitely a matchup that Towns should be able to have a lot of success in. So I definitely have interest in Karl-Anthony Towns at 10,100, but right now I think I do prefer Giannis and Jokic over him. Outside of Towns, though, like, D'Angelo Russell, I think we can look to go to. Now, he was very popular last slate, kind of had a disappointing game against Houston, played 29 minutes off the bench, had 30 DK points. He's been coming off the bench lately, but he's still been getting pretty good minutes. Even if he comes off the bench again, I still expect D'Angelo Russell to play around 28 to 32 minutes, somewhere in that range, which does make him viable at 6,700. The price tag came up a little bit, though, so does Russell stand out as a top option today? I don't think so, but still a viable tournament play. He should be a lot lower owned than he was on the last slate. So I definitely have interest in Russell. It's pretty much just Towns and Russell for me from Minnesota, and I don't think I'm really considering any other Timberwolves today. So next game, we got New Orleans and OKC. Now, on the Pelicans side today, I don't really like a ton from the Pelicans. You got Zion, Ingram at the top, but today, like, I don't think I'm going to play either one of them, at least not in my main, my main lineup. If you're playing a lot of lineups, obviously, it makes sense to have Zion or Ingram in your player pool, but if I'm playing one lineup today, I'm going to prefer a guy like Kevin Durant over Zion when, Kevin Durant's $1,300 cheaper. I'd much rather play Kevin Durant over Brandon Ingram. Lonzo, if I had to play anyone from the Pelicans, it probably would be Lonzo just because I think it's 6,800. He does offer you, 45 point upside, which is good at that price point. Don't mind Lonzo. The important news to talk about, though, is Steven Adams. He did get injured in Wednesday's game. He was not able to return. So there is a chance that Steven Adams does not play today. If Steven Adams is ruled out, I would assume that Willie Hernan-Gomez would start at center. Hernan-Gomez, super cheap, 4,100. Really good point per minute player. We saw him start in that Clippers game whenever Adams was out. Played 31 minutes that day, had 33 DK points. If Steven Adams is out and Hernan-Gomez starts, I think Hernan-Gomez is a great value play. 4,100, he would definitely be one of the top value plays on the slate, so I would have a lot of interest in him. If Adams is out, he would definitely be my favorite play from the Pelicans. But I don't mind Lonzo. Zion and Ingram you could play if you're making a lot of lineups, but I don't think if I'm playing one lineup today, I don't think I'll really get to those guys. There's just other studs I'd rather play. So moving on to the OKC side, it's a good matchup for these Thunder guys, but I don't think I'm going to roster any Thunder on this slate. Lou Dort you have at 6,500. If I had to play anyone on the Thunder, it probably would be Lou Dort. We know Dort has upside. I mean, he's been a lot better on a point per minute basis lately. Obviously, that kind of reflects the price. He went from being a guy that was basically like 5K every day to now he's like almost 7K on a daily basis. But without SGA, he's clearly benefited. He's playing a ton of minutes. The matchup's really good here. Could we get a random, 40, 44, or 40, 45-point game from Lou Dort today? We absolutely could. I wouldn't be surprised if he goes out there and puts up, 40 DK points in a good matchup against the Pelicans. So if you want to play Lou Dort in tournaments, he should be low owned. I don't mind that. But I really don't think I'm going to any Thunder today. If I had to play anyone on OKC, it probably would be Lou Dort. I don't think I'm considering anyone else, though. The Thunder are just not a team I really roster much at all, especially with how they're, splitting up the minutes. They just play so many guys. They never really give anyone heavy minutes outside of, Dort and Bazley. And Dort and Bazley are both kind of priced up to reflect that. It's not like they're, it's not like we're getting a great discount on them anymore. So moving on to the last game of the night. We'll hit on this one real quick, guys, before we do end the video. We got Toronto and Denver. On the Toronto side, I just don't think I'm going to play any Raptors today. I know, Siakam, VanVleet, Lowry, they all have plenty of upside, but whenever all these guys are healthy, it's just tough to predict which one of them is going to put up the big game on a nightly basis. If I had to play any of the big three Raptors, it probably would be Lowry just because he's the cheapest. I think all three of these guys project pretty similarly, so give me the one that's the cheapest, which is Kyle Lowry. But OG, I don't really like his price. Kim Birch at 5K, you could maybe go to. Without Chris Boucher, he's been starting recently at center. He's been playing about 30 to 32 minutes. The matchup here against Jokic is not great. This is definitely a spot where Kim Birch can maybe get into some foul trouble. But if he can stay out of foul trouble and he does play 30, 32 minutes, at 5K, Kim Birch could give you a pretty good score at the salary. But if I can find $1,000, I'd rather play Isaiah Stewart. If Steven Adams gets ruled out, I'd rather save salary at center and play Willie Hernan-Gomez. So I feel like there's going to be other centers I prefer over Kim Birch today, but honestly, Birch is probably my favorite play from the Raptors if I had to play anyone here, followed by Kyle Lowry. But really, I just don't like much from this Raptors team. Now they're starting to get a lot of guys back. I know Boucher's out. I know Gary Trent's out. But when you have VanVleet, Lowry, Siakam all in, it's just tough to predict which one of these guys is going to have the big game. So they're just GPP plays for me. I don't think really any of them stand out as cash options or guys I would be playing in my one lineup. So moving on to the Denver side and talking about the Nuggets here real quick before we do end the video. So I've mentioned Jokic a lot during this video. You have him at the top here, 10,900. Basically every slate Jokic is on, he's always going to be a top stud option for me. I think that's once again the case today. He's right up there with Giannis in terms of favorite pay-up options. In the end, it's all going to come down to roster construction. Right now, we do have a lot of good options at center. Isaiah Stewart, you could go to Kim Birch, you could go to Hernan Gomez if Adams is out. There's plenty of center plays today, but I think Jokic, if you can pay up at center, is clearly a top stud and clearly a top center play. Michael Porter, at his price tag, I'm not the biggest fan of. I don't feel like I need to roster MPJ when he's 8,300. I think he's a good play when he's like 7K, but now that he's 8,300, you need 50 plus DK points from him to really be a guy you have to have at this salary. And sure, he could do that, but is it likely? Probably not. So MPJ, I'm not really on. PJ Dozier, at his price, I'm not really on. Aaron Gordon's just been terrible. He's a guy that's tough to roster. So really, it's just Jokic for me from Denver and nothing else. I don't think I'm playing any other Nuggets today outside of Jokic. Maybe you could play some of these guys on Yahoo. They're a little bit more affordable there. Like MPJ's $33. I could see playing him on Yahoo just to help fill the small forward position, which is always pretty tough. But Jokic is clearly the priority for me from Denver. I think that's probably it. So that covers all 6 games today, guys. I appreciate you watching the video. As always, I hope you did enjoy this little breakdown. If you did, hit that like button down below before you do get out of here. And be sure to click that subscribe button as well. Also, hit the notification bell so that way you do get notified every time I upload, and you also do get notified every time I live stream. Should be back again Thursday for another live stream. Obviously, I wasn't able to stream on Wednesday, but I should be back Thursday around 4:30 Eastern Time, breaking down the slate with you guys, answering all your questions. So if you're able to tune into the stream, I would highly suggest you do so. I can help you guys out, answer all your questions, and we can talk through everything once again in the live stream on Thursday. But best of luck tonight, guys. Thanks for watching the video. As always, thank you for your support, and we will see you in the next one. Good luck tonight, guys. Peace.